Hello, everyone. I am BajellaBoy30, that jiggly gamer cat, and you are catching Viewer Takeover with PSVR Without Parole's Brian Paul, Dave from Dave Station, and AJ from The Underground, PSVR Underground.
This is Viewer Takeover. We film every Monday night and then we bring it to YouTube every Tuesday, whenever we get around to it. You know, sometimes things are important, sometimes they're not. This one, I don't know, mediocre importance. What do you think?
I think it's pretty important.
All right, well, my name's Brian Paul from this channel right here, and with me this week is AJ from The Underground, PSVR Underground.
What's up, man? What's up? Oh, what's up, Tornado?
And Tornado from The Kitten Academy.
Congrats on your new cat. That is awesome. I was confused the last couple seconds because I wasn't even sure like what day it was for a minute there until you clarified. And yeah, happy Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Okay, now she's gonna try to find room in my lap to sit. This is gonna be interesting. We're gonna see how that works. Viewer Takeover, where every week we try to thank a bunch of people, right?
We do thank people on the show.
And the first person we want to thank is Dave for not being here tonight.
Yes.
For the benefit of the channel. No, we miss Dave. Dave had prior obligations, things he had to take care of that were way more important than doing something as silly as Viewer Takeover. And so we miss you, Dave. Hopefully we will see you again, Gamescast, live on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
Excellent. But the first person we really want to thank this week, AJ, is... Well, hey, give me that headphone jack back. This is how shows are going to go from now on, by the way.
Bit Jello Boy, the jiggly gamer cat. I like how he did the jiggle. That was an awesome intro, man. Awesome intro. Great to put a name with the face. And yeah, Jiggly's been around for a minute and been very supportive. Appreciate you, man.
Absolutely. Very, very good intro. He actually followed my directions. He just pointed the camera at his face and actually said who he was. Very simple. No editing required.
Even ended it with the fist bump at the end. That was a nice touch.
That's right. If you want to submit your Viewer Takeover intro for I don't know, next couple months sometime. We get a lot of them, but we're going to get caught up at some point. Make sure you send your short, sweet, seductive. I mean, Jiggly Boy's intro is pretty damn seductive. I'm not going to lie. withoutparole@gmail.com. But of course, we also want to thank a few other people. And while I'm trying to keep Tornado from jumping off the desk, we want to thank these people. These people down here. The people went to patreon.com/withoutparole.
Games!
And they're giving us $1 or more every single month off the keyboard. Because they're the loyalist of the loyalist, the fluffiest of the fluffy. And they want to support us and make sure that this channel keeps on running. But who else do we want to thank, AJ, before we really get the show started?
Brian.
Hi.
Dave. Game Cats. We would like to thank those who also support us by changing their name to something Game Cat related, something Game Cat adjacent, as you and something Game Cat adjacent would like to say. And you can let us know by leaving a comment on any video with hashtag Game Cat. Let us know you changed your name. And today we have 2 new Game Cats to welcome to the Game Cat Dojo. Starting with Happy Homer's Game Cat Arcade.
You know, I think we actually missed Happy Homer last week, so I apologize, man. Sometimes it takes us a little while to get around to catching all the names. If we missed your name, guys out there, hashtag GameCat in the comments below. We'll find you and give you a shout out next week's show. Who else did we get to change their name?
We've got Twitcher, the single player Game Cat.
That's awesome. Twitcher was actually somehow like banned on YouTube. Like we weren't seeing his messages. Very strange stuff was going on, but somehow it all worked out, and now we see his name. And so thank you very much, Twitcher, for getting in touch with me. Always get in touch with me if you think something crazy went on. withoutparole@gmail.com. I'll try to help you out. We'll try to work it out together. Let me know. I'm always around.
It is very hard to get banned in this community. Very, very hard.
Yeah, he must have done something fucking terrible.
That or was it by accident? If so, just write Brian. Just write Brian anyways. Send him tons of messages.
It's like Brian hadn't had his coffee that month or that week or that day, and he was going through and he's like, "Fuck this guy!" Click. What happened? I don't know, but I got plenty of coffee, so it's not going to happen again. Dude, one of the things we introduced recently was Clip of the Week, and usually you guys send us your videos, you send us links to your YouTube channels, you send us little clips and send them to the withoutparole@gmail.com email address. But this week, the Clip of the Week comes from somebody in the room that you're sitting in, AJ. And that is you.
What? Oh no!
When you were streaming, doing a Saturday night live stream on your channel, PSVR Underground, link in the description.
Oh no!
You were playing Dread Halls. Now I was watching.
You know what? Just roll the clip.
Okay.
Oh man. Safe room? Ah! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Well, I was watching that when it happened live, and I was like, "That is classic. We need to clip that out and save it." But that's not the reason that it made it to clip of the week. Is because the outcrying of all the cats out there that was like, "Meow, meow, meow." The game cat literally messaged me on Patreon and said, "You need to abuse this clip."
I'm gonna find you, meow meow. No, I love you. I love you, and thanks to everybody who joins the Saturday Night live streams. Dread Halls has been requested every single week now because every single week it just gets worse for me, man. Like just every time it gets worse, and yeah, that's one of the few games that just really gets me, no matter how many times I play it, and it's such a blast. Highly recommend it. It's part of Hero Arcade. For those who don't know, where's that Dread Halls 2 at, man? We need Dread Halls 2.
Hero Arcade is pretty much useless other than Dread Halls, but it's worth the price of admission for Dread Halls alone. So even though it looks like a bunch of crappy games all stitched together, that's exactly what it is, plus Dread Halls.
Brian,
Hi.
what do we actually do on this show?
No one knows. No one knows, and we don't know. But this week we're gonna mix things up a little bit, and we're gonna look through our Discord. Make sure you click on the link in the description and join our Discord server and leave your comments, your questions for this show in the Viewer Takeover channel, or on any video you can just put hashtag Viewer Takeover, all one word, and leave your question or comment there. Maybe we'll find it, and even less likely, maybe we'll answer it. And so that's what we're gonna do on this episode. I don't know what we normally do, but on this episode we're gonna answer some Viewer Takeover questions. The first one comes to us this week from Spudinsky, the game cat. From a Viewer Takeover episode, he writes, hashtag Viewer Takeover. Do you guys have any advice on securing a PS5 pre-order? Since supplies may be limited, I want to be near the front of the line to order one.
We do too, man.
Yeah,
we absolutely do too. And I have got 100 bookmarks and 100 tabs just constantly open, ready for the day that they may get announced. You know, today there were some rumors where they almost happened, but these were not from our typical sources. This isn't like Jeff Grubb or some of the other guys that are Aesthetic Gamer that usually get things like pin perfect, you know.
Right.
Got a lot of people, you know, wasted a lot of people's time. So, but when it does go live, there is something called stockinformer.com that you can search for, and it will give you not only like alerts from your computer, it refreshes itself. How convenient is that it actually, the page refreshes itself. It says you don't even have to do it. So stockinformer.com or stockinformer.co.uk if you're in the UK. And they have Amazon, GameStop, Best Buy, Target, Walmart, eBay. Best Buy you can also sign up for and fill out an email, and they'll send you an alert when pre-orders go live. And that's basically what I'm using. They've also got a Discord that you can do. But yeah, any retail website, make sure some of them have options to get alerts right as they go live as well. So keep an eye out for that.
Yeah. Now we do want to make something clear here. It sounds like a lot of people are freaking out. They're like, oh my God, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to get one. Now the reason that people are freaking out is because there were reports that there might be like limited stock, right? And I think we need to make that very, very clear. If you compare it to PlayStation 4, which sold 7.5 million units between launch and the end of fiscal year March 2021, there's 7.5 million units.
Right.
Now, basically Sony's saying that there will be 5 to 6 million units available in that same amount of time. So basically anywhere between 2.5 million less and 1.5 million less. So it's not like there's only going to be like 2 million available like during the Switch launch or something like that. These things may not sell out very quickly because think about it. Tons of people have been out of a job since COVID hit. Tons of people are financially not in any kind of place where they can blow $500 to $600 on a new console. Not to mention games. Not to mention an extra controller, all of that shit. So I think we're in a much different situation right now, to the point where I don't know if it's going to be that difficult to find one. What do you think, AJ? Do you think we're going to have an issue with this?
Well, I know they produced I think it was 10 million that they produced for the PS4, and then ended up, and yeah, I mean, that was a $400 price point. This is going to be more expensive. We'll have to just wait and see, man. I don't actually know. The important part is you do want to have everything set up in place. You don't know. Sales hype levels never match what you actually sell. I mean, accurately, anyways. You have to wait to see sales to really know the truth behind how well something is doing. Something could have tons of hype, and then not actually sell a bunch. But I do think these are going to actually sell really well. I think there's a lot of hype for PS5. I mean, look, we play exclusively VR, and we're pre-ordering one the second they go live, and we don't even have all the details yet. Even at this second, even if I didn't have all the details, I would pre-order one. Sorry, if that's my dog.
That's you. Okay.
That's my dog scratching himself.
For the first time. For the first time ever, I thought it could be coming from my end. I was like, I'm sorry, Tornado's making noise. She's not. She's super quiet.
Sorry, my bad.
Also don't know where she is. What are you doing down there? Hey.
But yeah, obviously we're going to be waiting for we're hearing things about the end of July for some kind of event, and then we're also hearing about, likely, if history repeats itself, we'll get some kind of PS5 actual event or Sony event that will reveal the price and then at the same time go live. But who knows? With COVID, with all this stuff going on, you just never know. But I kind of tend to agree with a lot of the community that maybe they're waiting till after Xbox does their event, so maybe August. But the important part, like I said, regardless, is just to be ready, no matter what.
Be ready, and also my recommendation is generally, order from some place that doesn't charge you until it ships. Because some people overpromise and underdeliver, and so you might order from some place that doesn't actually won't have as many in stock as they think they do, and so you don't want to be like fighting to get your money back, or even worse, waiting until they get in stock, right? Being like, well, I don't want to fight with these guys to get my money back, so I'm just gonna have to wait an extra couple months to get my PS5 when I should have had it at launch. That's why Amazon is so successful, because you can pre-order very, very simply with the push of a button. And then, you only get charged once it ships. So that's generally my recommendation. Are you looking at Tornado? Is that what's going on here?
No, I don't know what's with these pets. What's with all the pets everywhere?
I don't know.
Get out of here, dog.
This is also the first time the light's been on behind me because my apartment is suddenly really well lit, because cats, they chill. They're cool nocturnal creatures. Sometimes sometimes, but they also really, really like light, bright lit areas. So my blinds have been open constantly for days now. It's crazy. So what was our guess, our estimate on the cost of the console?
Oh, I mean, there's a couple different things. I think I was thinking maybe $499. I'm sorry, $399 digital, $499 disc, and that's like best case scenario to me.
Okay, I think best case scenario for me is $5 and $550. I don't think we're going to see a PlayStation 5 sell for less than $500. If we do, then Sony made a pact with the devil, and that's fucking awesome. Like, whatever you have to do to keep that price down, we're thrilled. And so man, anything less than 500 is amazing, but I really think it's going to be 500 for the cheapest one, and 550 if you want to drive in it.
Yeah, it's going to be somewhere between there.
I think they're scared of that $600 price tag. Like, even though things have changed since the launch of the PlayStation 3, and inflation has radically changed the value of our dollar, $600 is nowhere near the amount that it was when the PlayStation 3 launched. But I think they're still very much scared of announcing anything at that price. That sounds scary.
Especially if Microsoft announces something like $500 for their best console, and it's only $500, then they're not going to want to be $100 more expensive for less powerful hardware, even though it's faster. It's less powerful. So
it's going to be an interesting launch, especially if Xbox goes the route that we think they're going to go, and reveal Project Lockhart, right? With this is supposed to be the cheaper model, and so people go, oh, you can get an Xbox Series X for $350, and be like, yeah, but it's not very powerful. It's certainly not gonna last you through the next generation. So that's going to be an interesting discussion, and we're going to see how that goes for Xbox this time around. Because I don't know if they were thinking that cost was the issue last gen, then they're certainly giving that another shot. What are you doing with the tail?
I can't stop staring at her now.
I can't either. This show has gone off the rails, man. Like from the get go, I'm like, what are you doing? What's happening? What's going over there? Yeah.
Oh man, she's adorable.
She is totally adorable, but she's gonna go sit over here for now.
All right, so our second question comes from old school gamer cat with the from viewer takeovers is hashtag viewer takeover like a pro. Says, do you, like me, believe the only reason we haven't had new Move controllers with analog sticks yet is because Sony were waiting for PS5?
Suddenly I realized my left thumb is nowhere near as coordinated as my right thumb when I'm trying to do this. My left thumb's just broken. I wonder why I suck at this. Is that what you think? Do you think that they were just waiting for PlayStation 5 this whole time?
Well, I definitely think this whole kickoff for VR has been experimental, and that's not just for PSVR. I think that's why we've already seen several versions of PC headsets already. And yeah, I mean, they had an idea. They've been developing this stuff since like what 2010 is like when they started like tinkering around with the first prototypes. And again, they started making this with just like experiences in mind and trying to figure out things. They knew they weren't going to be able to go to version 5.0 right away, and they did it smart. And they start out, and then people said, "Oh, we want full games. We want full everything, full feature games, AAA games, all of this," which I agree with. And now that they kind of, as the technology evolves, then we'll eventually do it. We also had these things called Move controllers, which not a lot of people cared about, and it completely revived the Move controllers.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it. What? I'm just picking up a pen. This is my life now. She's standing on her hind legs. This is awesome. So Sony is definitely taking the console route when it comes to PlayStation VR. I preface this a little bit in my top 5 reasons to buy a PlayStation VR headset in 2020 video, but I didn't even go into the Move controllers. But literally, the cheapest way they could possibly have done this was with 7-year-old tech, right? They were like, oh, we've got these things sitting in a warehouse. A ton of people already have them, making the barrier to entry even lower. So let's just go the console route with our VR headset and make it as cheap as possible, and as cheap as possible for everybody to dive into. So not only was it that, but also once people started asking for analog sticks and being like, we really want, this is something we really want for our games. I think Sony knew that the aim controller was on the way, and on top of that, they were like, we're segmenting the market over and over here. We've got the DualShock 4, which everybody has. That's the thing we want to focus on with VR because everyone has that. And then these Move controllers, extra immersion. But for people who didn't have the Move controllers, segmenting the market, and then the aim controller, segmenting the market again. And so, can you imagine if at the bottom of every review summary screen that you and I did, it'd be like, here's your DualShock 4, and here's the original Move controllers, but here's the new Move controllers with the analog sticks, and here's the aim controller, and here's the 3D fucking rudder, right? And it's like, what do I need to play these games? And I think from a console perspective, like Sony has, they're like, we don't need to confuse the market anymore. This is a strategy we launched with. We're going to stick with this, and when we revamp next gen, well, then we'll fucking revamp big time and we'll go big. But it's going to be that one and done thing where they do it at the beginning of the console generation and then they don't iterate on it at all because they want us to use the cheapest stuff for as long as possible. And I love that.
Certainly. And the thing about the Move controllers, like, yes, they are definitely limited. I think the tracking is much bigger problem than the thumbsticks, actually. The problem with the Move controllers is that it's just something completely different. You're not used to it. It's not like taking a DualShock 4 and splitting it in half. Right. And you're like, okay, well, this is at least kind of familiar. And I compare it all the time to when my friend had me play Blades on his phone. Now, I've played video games for over 25 years of my life. A lot of them, a lot of weird freaking, remember tank controls on PS1? And like, I got good at all of those. Never had a problem. But
you're the defender of loading screens. I'm the defender of tank controls.
Oh, well, there could be worse things, but I'm very glad tank controls are no longer a thing mostly. Um, but when I played a phone game, and it was like it was blades, and you had to like swipe to attack, and it was like double tap to run. And what I realized is that like I was like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. I don't know what to do. And to me, I realized that people probably get their phones and they play games every single day and they have no problem. And that's a lot like move controllers to me, is like once you understand the basics of them and how they work, then, and especially when developers do a good job with them, stuff like Saints and Sinners or No Man's Sky, Skyrim, and well, maybe not Skyrim to the fullest extent, but Saints and Sinners is a great example because you grab stuff. You grab stuff off your chest. There's not fiddling through buttons, through menus, and this and different stuff. But yeah, once you are familiar with them, it's like nothing. I could play games blindfolded. I mean, with move controllers at this point, practically.
Yeah, no, absolutely. There's a huge learning curve, but you can always tell the people who spend a lot of time with PSVR and the people who haven't, because suddenly a game, like Iron Man will come along and people will complain about the move controls. You're like, these are amazing. These feel actually really good, or people who complained about Saints and Sinners being like, oh, the locomotion's trash. The number of times I saw that comment, I was like, is this your first? And I wasn't trying to be, pedantic.
I've seen that once or twice. Yeah,
many times. I was like, is this your first? Because if it's your first, give it some time. And the answer always came back, this is my first PSVR game. And I'm like, give it time. You'll get there. It's second nature after a while.
I get asked probably more than anything with Saints and Sinners is, how do you run? They have no idea how to run. And so it's like, or like, people even say, how do you walk? Mm-hmm. There's no thumbsticks. And it's like, so, that is something we'll probably have to worry about less. The future of PSVR will have better tracking. We'll likely have joysticks. We'll probably have some cool other features with it that we'll get to see. And I cannot wait to see what those are. But for now, I think they actually they exceeded my expectations with what they could pull off with the move controllers.
Absolutely. We talk about it all the time that, the more limited something is, the more creative people get. And I think the creativity really, really showed with this. And I hated it at first. I'm not going to lie. I hated it at first. I was like, man, I hate fucking walking around with this. And once I got it, man, I was like, okay, I'm good. Everything's
not a problem
fine.
at all. I get it down like this now.
Exactly. And the final question comes to us from Alex O.N. I'm just
Alex on, Alex off.
From Viewer Takeover, he writes, #Viewer Takeover. Why do you think that game developers add additional stuff in PSVR games and not PC? So, for instance, Aspire 1 at launch had a removable black bar that covered your vision, but on the PC, you could remove it. And Gordon's blue grid square, that's not on the PC release, and dozens more. I like the way you phrase this.
I do, because those are not features.
Right.
Those are not good features at all. That is just stuff. I mean, obviously, that's just part of their QA process. When, we've had developers tell us before that the QA for Sony is a lot more difficult. I mean, you're dealing with a mega corporation that's across the world. And you're dealing with different culture, different language, so many different things. So basically you have to just kind of send it to them and cross your fingers and hope that they like it. And then, once you get, and that's just the first like QA process thing.
Yeah. It's being forced to add blinders. I think it blindsides a lot of developers. I think maybe that, they fail the quality assurance.
Would you say it blinders sides?
It very might blinder sides. Yes. And here she comes. Constantly moving coffee from one side of the desk to the other. It totally blindsides developers, I think, to the point where they're ready to get their game out. It goes through certification, and Sony goes, you don't have blinders in your game as an option. You don't have click turning in your game as an option. And I think what happens is, and this is just a guess, is that it takes a long time to actually like program a menu and like go in and like create options and be like blinders on, blinders off. How This vignette strength is another slider that we see all the time. Speed of turn, degree of click turning. There are so many options that we crave for VR games that when a game just has full locomotion and smooth turning, and they submit it to Sony for certification, well, the thing that has to be on by default, or the thing that has to be in there, is click turning and blinders. That all needs to be in there as an option, and so I think one of the things that happens is they go, well, we need to get this fucking game out. And so they swap out these things, right? They say, okay, well, instead of smooth turning, here's your click turning. They just shove it in. Instead of creating an option for it, they just make it mandatory. Instead of saying, okay, well, here's an option. Because we don't have time to add this to the option screen for blinders. They're just going to be on, and we'll get around to patching that later. And I feel like the whole certification process needs to be revamped and revised and fixed so that this doesn't keep happening. And it needs to be clearer. So I've heard so much confusion from so many developers going, does this happen all the time? And I'm like, it happens constantly. I'm constantly getting emails from developers being like, this is insane. And I'm like, I know.
From a lot of developers that I talk to as well, it usually seems like they are the ones that get sick, and they have issues with it. And so, in a final build of a game, I can understand. I would think that, by then, it looks pretty good. It should feel good by then. But when you imagine playing this janky game that's like just in pieces and just the littlest thing could probably make you feel pretty sick. So a lot of developers I talk to, when a game has click turning and teleport only, is usually like they do that on purpose to either prevent getting sick, or it's like a design choice in the game. The good thing is we're starting to kind of see that less and less this year. Yeah. When this year got started, we were seeing it quite a bit, and I was like, come on guys, it's 2020. Why are we going backwards on this subject when we have been shouting from the roof of our houses for like a year, 2 years now that this is not what we want? But it seems more developers are getting used to getting feedback on games. They're kind of, they're doing a little bit more research. Again, lots of praise to Skydance for actually reading and watching reviews of games and reading and shaping their stuff in their game around community feedback. That is so huge, because you see what people want, you see what people like, and that's going to help you instead of releasing a game and everyone says, nope, not buying it. And then, you end up with something kind of like Gorn, which I'm sorry, not Gorn, with Golem, which I loved Golem, but you gotta believe that launch kind of hurt them a little bit.
Yeah, no, everybody was saying the same thing about Golem at launch, and it was great that they listened and they patched it, but it would have been even better if they patched it the day before launch instead of the week after launch. Right. So it does. I'm sure a lot of this bad feedback hurts the sales of a lot of games. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, because people are going to reviews for that game and they're thinking that now it's only got this one locomotion system, unless somebody did a review post patch. But and Golem doesn't even have like a normal locomotion system. You have to hold a DualShock in one hand and a Move controller in one hand for the best locomotion system possible. So
right.
I still think it's a fantastic game, but I think little things like that, I don't think VR games have a lot of room for mistakes, especially if you are an unknown game. Some of these games can get away with stuff if they are attached to like a really popular IP, or if they have like tons of hype around them. But when you are trying to, be the new kid on the block, like you don't have a lot of room for mistakes, or else, you're just not going to get the name out.
Yeah, poor throw anything, man. That game could have been at least like simple fun, but they didn't even have a 180 flip button or turn buttons, and so it's like you're actually you're forcing your game to focus on the one downside that PlayStation VR has, and that's that if you don't see the tracking ball on the Move controller, it's not going to track very well, and that's what that game focused on more than anything. I was like, man, if you just had that at launch, the reviews would have been so much more positive. We've been like, oh, this isn't anything amazing, but it's a lot of fun. And instead it was I can barely play this because my Move controller is like tracking all over the place. They patched it eventually, but it's like too little, too late. I don't know. I'd love to hear sales figures. All right, dude. I think that's going to do it for another episode of Viewer Takeover. Thank you to all the cats who asked questions. Make sure you join our Discord if you want to ask your own question and leave your comment in the hashtag Viewer Takeover channel. Also, just leave your hashtag viewer takeover question in the comments below with the hashtag viewer takeover. Can I say hashtag viewer takeover a few more times, you think?
Keep giving us those PS5 questions. I love those.
Yeah, absolutely, man. That's what everybody's excited about. That's what we're excited about. And, man, we can't wait for that to happen. Make sure you submit your viewer takeover introductions withoutparole@gmail.com and support us on patreon.com/withoutparole.
Games.
For just $1 or more every month if you want to see this channel survive and keep running. So far, so good. Right? Also, send us your clip of the week. That's the confusing one. That's the new segment, and people. I tell people send me the link to your YouTube channel with something timestamped. I can download it from there, or just send me the clip through the same Gmail account that I've been pimping all episode. Tornadoes asleep. Craziness, absolute craziness. Make sure you subscribe to AJ over at PSVR Underground and follow him on Twitter.
Thank you.
And hopefully we'll see Dave back here next.
We all know how much I care
Next episode
about my Twitter.
We know how much you care, and I care by default, by proxy. So, for another episode of Viewer Takeover, my name is Brian Paul. That's AJ from the Underground, and we'll see you Thursday. All right, here we go. Ready? We're going to do this. It's so exciting. So excited. So excited. This is the shit you actually see me do at the beginning of a Why We Love episode. It's like, what's Brian making all these things for? He's just trying to fucking amp up for a show.
It's time to get amped.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how you're not amped after drinking that fucking rocket fuel, for several hours a day, but
It's just I just brew coffee at home.
shit almost put me in a coma.